This is about a 10-pound ham, and I like this ham also because it still has the skin on it, and it has a nice layer of fat right under there. This is a nice juicy ham, and it's already smoked and cured, and it's delicious because Molly, you know, pulled a piece off of it. It is really good. So, how do we make that better? Well, we dress it up for Easter, of course. What? Rick Burke, excuse him. All right. Other things that we're going to use to pretty up this ham: brown sugar, maraschino cherries, 2 cans of pineapple, and I've reserved the juice of the pineapple right here. Cloves. I don't like to use toothpicks, except you have to use toothpicks on the cherries because they're not long enough. But I do use the cloves on the pineapple, and it does add a fabulous flavor. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to start. Oh, first thing first, I almost forgot. You want to score your ham. And if you don't score your ham, you're just going to be really disappointed in the end, because that skin is not going to, it's going to shrink up on you. So make sure you score it. And what we're going to do, you see how I'm doing it kind of on a diagonal. Don't be afraid of the ham.
Do be afraid of the knife, however.
Yes, be careful with the knife. Make sure you have a sharp knife, because the only more thing dangerous than me in the kitchen is a dull knife. I am a dull girl with a sharp knife.
You know that.
Yes, I am. All right, here's your pineapple, and this isn't going to work either. All right, well, here. I also like to stud the cloves in the middle of each of those cross sections. Here you go. And the cloves really add a lovely flavor here. If you don't like cloves, leave them out. I happen to like the way this tastes. We're just going to put them in there. These are all going to season the ham so nice. One toothpick per slice. And it's going to hold it on just fine. Now, I'm going to do the big ends first. Let me do these. And you don't have to go all the way down to the bottom. You can just do the top of the ham with the pineapple. And then the other thing you're going to do is, just like when you're laying tile, you want to put these in between each other. You want to stagger them, just like this. And the other thing is, you may not end up using all the pineapple, but for any of you folks who have husbands or children, oops, I'm sure that the pineapple isn't going to go to waste. I kind of want you to do this.
Pack it in there.
Pack it in, exactly. And what this will do is it will cause this to caramelize, and it will candy, and it is going to be absolutely delicious. Get another handful here. Move this pan around because it's just. And yes, it's messy. And make sure you get the stuff off the bottom of the pan. We are going to put water in the bottom of the pan, and we are going to cover this with aluminum foil. Rinse my hands off. Clean up my mess. Okay, now that pineapple juice that we saved out, I'm gonna get a spoon just to help me. I'm just going to drizzle this over the top. The pineapple juice in the bottom because it'll burn after it starts to evaporate, and you've already got a lot of brown sugar in there. So we're going to put at least a cup of water in the bottom of this pan. What you're going to do is, you know, this ham is already cooked. So essentially what you're doing is you're going to create a steam bath environment here. And then you're going to let this cook for 15 minutes per pound. And this is according to the package directions that I got. So this is a Smithfield ham. And it's a whole bone-in ham. It says 15 minutes per pound at 350 degrees. I'm going to cover this with foil, and that means that my ham is going to stay in the oven a total of 2 hours and 40 minutes. At 2 hours and 15 minutes, I'm going to take the foil off, and then I'm going to let all of this goodness caramelize. It's going to be delicious, and I'm going to come back when it's time to take the foil off, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. My oven is preheated at 350 degrees. I have the rack in the middle lower portion of the oven. And this is going to go in there for a nice little steam bath. And we'll come back in about 2 hours and I will show you what this looks like when we take the foil off of it. Your house is going to smell amazing, and when you come back I'm going to show you what it looks like, and I'll see you in a little while. When it's time to come out, I will reveal it to you in all of its glory, and you know what that time will be. We will fix you a plate of Easter goodness, because I know you're hungry. So we'll be back later. Okay, we are ready to fix you a plate. Hi everyone, welcome back to the kitchen. Today we're going back to basics. With Easter just around the corner, I thought it's a great time to revisit a perennial favorite, deviled eggs. Ne'er has an Easter gone by in my life that these were not on the table, and ne'er should one ever again. Deviled eggs are just a classic. Everyone has their own way of making it, and today I'm going to show you 2 ways that our family enjoys deviled eggs. I can't wait to show you how these all come together. Today we're going back to basics. Easter is right around the corner, and nothing to me says Easter more than a deviled egg. These are on our Easter table every year, and we enjoy them quite often throughout the summer. I hard-boiled mine in a little egg cooker that I have. Sometimes I hard-boil them in the pressure cooker, but you can do it the old-fashioned way as well. I have a half a dozen. This is 6 eggs that I have cut in half. Obviously one got a little too done, but that's no worries. And we're going to take the yolks out of these, and we're going to make deviled eggs 2 ways, because when I make deviled eggs in my house, I have to make them 2 ways, and that may be the situation in yours as well. I make them the way my mom made them, which is with mayonnaise and mustard and dry mustard and just a little bit of seasoning. And then I make them for Rick with Miracle Whip and sweet pickle relish, and I like them both ways, but we make them both ways, and maybe you do too. Maybe you've never made a deviled egg before. Maybe you'd like to give it a try. I always think it's a great idea to go back to basics every now and then and revisit the old favorites, and I think it's time to do that. So, hard boil some eggs, or get you some hard boiled eggs at the deli. Most grocery store delis sell hard boiled eggs. You can get a dozen eggs already hard boiled, sometimes in the egg section of your grocery store. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Deviled eggs are all about finesse, less than measuring. So I have a little bit of mayonnaise. This is just regular mayonnaise for my version. I have a little bit of Miracle Whip for Rick's version. I have some regular yellow mustard out of the squeeze bottle for both kinds. And I have some dry mustard for both kinds, because this adds tanginess because of the vinegar. This adds spiciness and heat, and it also acts as a desiccant, so it absorbs some of the moisture and makes the filling a little bit thicker. And then this is for Rick's version. It's just some sweet pickle relish. Use whatever kind is your favorite. And then we got some salt, some pepper, and some onion powder that are gonna go in both kinds. So all you do is you're just going to separate the yolk from the white into a bowl. Now I'm just going to go ahead and do 6 of my version and 6 of Rick's version. Now you can take your fork and mash the yolks. Some people put this through a mesh sieve. Some people use a cheese grater. You don't really need to do that. Just get a fork in there and mash them until they're nice and broken up. You want them pretty fine though. You don't want big clumps. That looks pretty good to me. Now we're going to start with, like I said, with my version. So we're going to start with the mayonnaise. You never need as much mayonnaise as you think you need. So I'm going to start with that much, right? So that's about a tablespoon. And I'm also going to add about that much yellow mustard and about a teaspoon of dry mustard. Now, the dry mustard is entirely optional. You can make it without the dry mustard, but I'm telling you, to me, the dry mustard makes a huge difference. And that's how my mom always made it. I'm gonna hit this with a little bit of salt. Remember, the mustard, the mayonnaise, already pretty salty-ish, so you don't need to add a ton. I'm gonna add some fine black pepper. And I'm gonna add a little dash of onion powder, like 1/4 of a teaspoon, right? If you prefer, you can add some finely minced onion or even some onion that you run over a very fine grater. Then you're gonna get in here and you're gonna start mixing everything up. The secret here is you don't want it to be too loose. So that's why it's better to start with less wet ingredients than all of it. See, this has come out perfect to me. That's the perfect consistency for me. Now I'm gonna go ahead and fill up the egg white halves. And now you're just going to, you can do this by putting it into a Ziploc bag and squeezing it in like pastry bag style, or you can just use 2 spoons. And again, the trick here is put some in each egg and then go back and top them off so that everybody gets a somewhat even amount. All right, now let's make Rick's fancy kind. Just gonna go ahead and, like we did before, gonna mash up our yolk in this same bowl. I didn't even wash it out because you know what? There's no need. That's why we made the plain kind for me first, because I can mix the mayonnaise with the Miracle Whip, but I can't mix the Miracle Whip with the mayonnaise. So then we're gonna use Miracle Whip, and I'm probably gonna go for, put just about enough in there. A little bit of mustard. A little bit of mustard powder, and about a 1/2 teaspoon. And then a tablespoon, maybe a little bit less, of the sweet pickle relish. And then we'll hit this again with some salt. We'll hit this with a little bit of black pepper. I prefer the fine ground for this. I keep both on hand. And then some onion powder. And then we're just gonna mix it all up. Now this one, because it has the pickle relish in it, does tend to be a little looser, but you can regulate that by adding, you know, a little bit less Miracle Whip or even a little less wet mustard. But I think we got it just about right. And now all we have to do is fill up our egg halves.
There's just a subtle difference color-wise.
Well, we're gonna be able to differentiate because we're gonna fix that. There are a couple of ways you can do that. I'm gonna sprinkle my version, the one we made first, with some paprika. And for these, I'm gonna put a little bit of the pickle relish on the top so everybody knows that that's the sweeter version. Looks good to me. Well, there you have it. Our deviled eggs 2 ways. My classic have the paprika sprinkled on top, and Rick's favorite has the sweet pickle relish dolloped on the top. You know, deviled eggs are such a personal thing. Everyone has their own way of making them. I had a friend in college whose mother used to make deviled eggs with sour cream and softened cream cheese, and they were amazing. I wish I'd gotten the recipe, but you know, leave a comment down below. Tell me how you like to make your deviled eggs, or do you like deviled eggs? Maybe you've never had them before, and if you haven't, maybe it's time to give them a try. I hope that you enjoyed learning how we make deviled eggs 2 ways in our house. I hope you'll give them a try this Easter or whenever you want to, and I hope that you love them. And until next time, I'll see ya.